everyone.
Hi everybody.
How are you guys doing? Before we go ahead and start, thanks to everyone for bringing us to 100 subscribers. It wouldn't have been possible without you guys. We are 100 and counting, and we are finally bringing you our birth and delivery story. So get your cup of tea, get some little tissue if you wish, because there might be a little tears. Well, I need to get my tissue, right? Because I'm so emotional. I'm sure I'm going to cry. Our son was a planned baby. We came off the tablets around August because we didn't know how long it would take for us to become pregnant. And we got pregnant in November. So it took us 2 months. Because Tyler was planned, I was looking forward to miss my period. My period in September was like, I was sad. Saw my period in October. I was like, again? Okay. So, it so happened in November, I started to feel not so well, right?
But at first it's just that thing October you didn't see your period coming, so started to think about it. And then if I remember well, we did a test. You know,
And it was negative.
It was negative. You know, when you don't see your period coming, you don't feel well, you think about, okay, I'm pregnant. So we did a test, and the first test was negative.
And I was sad and disappointed again. And then, okay, after the negative test, I started not feeling so well, having some cramps. So we went to the doctor.
Well. Yeah, we went to the doctor because we wanted to know what's going on, why she's feeling that way.
Cramp, like crazy
so
cramp.
The doctor said that the test that you do might not be 100% sure. So he prescribed us a blood test. If the number is like lower 7, lower 8, okay, you're not pregnant. If it's between 8 and maybe 11 or 15, you might be. Most of the time when you're between is just the beginning, and if you upper this number, it's sure you're pregnant. So we did the test and we're in the middle.
What number was it?
Maybe 11, that's what I said.
Yeah,
11.
we did the test and I was 11. I was like,
So then I think we did
we came back home and we did another test. And we got a faded line, right?
Yeah, you were so, I remember you were, I think at first you only see one line, and you come back and you were like pissed. And then you look at it and you see the other line coming, but
coming up, and I got excited, but
not so straight. So, well, we did another blood test. Well, you did another blood test
after the second pregnancy test, which was a faded line and a bright line. We weren't so sure again, and we did another blood test. And this time the test was 500 and something.
Yeah, so definitely, you know,
so we know definitely that
you were pregnant.
I was pregnant at this time. And we went back to the doctors, and I was having complications, a lot of complications. After we went back to the doctors, I was having some cramps, and they found out that I had a cyst. That's why I was having all these cramps. But the doctor assured me that the cyst would go away after a period of time during the pregnancy. Everything that you can think of, I went through with Tyler. When the doctor found out that I had a small cyst, he also said there was a possibility that the baby was growing outside of where it was supposed to be. So of course, you know that I started to bawl. It wasn't something that I wanted to hear. We just keep on, and of course, he ended up being in the right space, but it wasn't an easy pregnancy. My due date was the 11th of August. The 11th passed, no contractions, nothing. The 12th came, nothing. 13, nothing. I was like, what is going on with this baby? So I was scheduled to be induced
On the 14th.
on the 14th. And my mom came. She was only here for 2 weeks. So she came in order to spend a week before my due date, and she was supposed to stay a week after my due date because she had to go back to work. She couldn't stay much longer. Went in at 8 o'clock to be induced, and they checked me to a room and started monitoring,
ultrasound,
all that good stuff, right? Monitor and monitor and monitor. I was wondering if they're going to monitor me for how long, because they were monitoring, non-stop monitoring. And then they finally decide that they're going to start the inducing process at about 4 p.m., 4 or 5 p.m.
So at this moment, they tell us that okay, you're gonna have a baby, but we can't tell you if it's gonna come the 15th or the 16th.
Started feeling pain non-stop. Of course, I wanted to go natural without getting epidural, getting any form of medication. From 1 to 3 centimeters, I started having problems. Tyler's heart rate started fluctuating, and the doctors were very concerned about it. I ended up going on oxygen because first my mom was in another room close to where I was, praying and trying to stay calm as possible for me because she was a bit worried. Well, everybody was a bit worried. I was in so much pain. The pain was coming on really strong, and I decided that no, babe, I cannot take this any longer. I asked for the epidural when I was 4 centimeters, but by the time the doctors came and they checked my cervix again, I was 5 centimeters at this time, and boy, can I tell you, the pain was unbearable. It doesn't matter how much I breathe, I go, it was working. It was working at all. So I got the epidural at 5 centimeters. But I don't know if the epidural was a good idea or a bad idea, because I stuck at 5 centimeters for about 2 hours until the doctors start contemplating whether they're going to have to do emergency surgery or not. It wasn't a good news. It wasn't what I wanted to hear because I didn't want to do a C-section, but if I had to, I would. After I got the epidural, I stopped feeling all the pain. The epidural was like heaven.
Magic.
But can I tell you how much I hate the effects of the epidural? I was shaking like this. You remember? I was shaking like crazy. And we didn't know what this shaking was for or what it was from. Well, we figured more or less it was the epidural, but babe had to go online and read to see what others' experience with epidural was like, and we saw persons talking about the shaking, so I felt a little bit better after that. But then after stuck in at the 5 centimeter for the 2 hours, then when she came back to check me like a third time, I finally started progressing and I was at 8 centimeters at this time. And I was like, yes, Lord, I'm almost there. And I wasn't feeling no pain at this time. I didn't feel no contractions, nothing. The epidural was heaven. The epidural saved me.
No, it really works. It really
It
works
works.
well.
It
Really
works. Trust
well.
me. And then when the doctor came back to check me, the last time I was at 10 centimeters and she was like, you're ready to push. I was so excited because I was about to see Tyler. This was after how many hours, babes, of being in labor?
9 hours. 9 hours.
9 hours. So that wasn't bad. It was 2 a.m. We're talking about the Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. Then it was time for me to push. Oh my God. This was a problem because I wasn't pushing properly. And babe wouldn't even tell me that, honey, you're not pushing properly. Because what I had to do was inhale, hold the ear in, then push it all out when you're pushing. But what I was doing was taking in the ear and letting the ear back out without pushing.
Like normally you should be like, and then you push, but you keep the breeze. And her, she was.
He's going to have our next child
Doesn't work
because
like this.
he have the pushing technique down pat.
Doesn't work like this.
You ready to carry your next baby? Okay, let's take that for the answer. Finally get it done right until I started pushing correct. And then the nurse is cheering me on and babe was there telling me I'm doing well. And I'm not even paying him no mind. I just wanted to know that he was there holding me and stuff. But he did a good job, honey. And my mom was still waiting in another room close to us. But my mom also got to check on me from time to time before I started pushing, so I got to see her. I wanted to see her so bad, so babe and mommy would take turns to stay with me. Oh gosh, oh Lord. Ooh, I'm going to start crying.
No.
I'm sure about it. I'm going to start crying. No. Started pushing and started pushing correct. Finally, Tyler was born after a few minutes of pushing. I didn't push for
fast.
too long. It was really fast. Put him on me and I was crying and oh my God, it was the best moment of my life next to me getting married on my wedding day. It was emotional. It was the best feeling seeing him, but a motherly instinct kicked in and I know something wasn't right. He wasn't crying. Ooh, I'm going to start crying. Ooh.
No, he wasn't crying.
He wasn't crying and the nurse was there wiping him off and I was saying, why is he not crying? Why is he not crying? They took him away. Ooh. They took him away to another room. Oh.
So they took him away to another room in order to force him to cry. So there were 3-4 nurses and finally cried.
And I keep saying, babe, why is he not crying, babe? What's happening? Is everything okay? And he keeps telling me, yes, everything is okay. Yes, everything is okay. But in the back of my head, something wasn't right. I heard him cry like 1 or 2 times, but he didn't cry like how you would see it in the movies or how you would hear other people, when you watch other people's video, how you'd see their baby cry. He wasn't crying like that. So I know something was right, but babe keep telling me he was okay. They had bring him back to me, and he looked fairly fine. He looked okay, but in the back of my head still something wasn't right. So they came and they stitched me back up, and oh, when she was stitching me back up, because I got a little slit. I got a little slit, so the doctors had to stitch me back up a little bit, and I felt every single needle. And she said, I tell her that I was feeling it, and she said she almost done. She's almost done, and her almost done is like a never ending. Oh my God. She was there sewing for a period of time. But she said she couldn't give me anything else because the epidural was still there. A little bit, but I could still feel it. Nurse finished sewing me up, and babe had to leave with the baby to go to the neonates. He had to go to the ICU because one, he had swallowed some liquid, and two, he had low blood sugar. I didn't get to see him until after they had bring me. Wait, backtrack a little bit. After he was born, they had to rush and call my mom. My mom could see him a little bit. She was so excited. She run come. I could see her through from where I was laying on the bed. She was so excited. She run come and she see him. And she couldn't get to hold him at this time. So she saw him and they had to whisk him away. Took him away to the ICU because he needed some immediate attention. And I didn't get to see him until they bring me to my dispatch room where we were going to stay. And this was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Babe and mom, they didn't sleep. They were up for like the entire time from Saturday 8 o'clock. They were up until 4 or 5 o'clock Sunday morning. So I got to see him, but this was the hardest part for me, to see my son under this light with all these things stick onto him. It was the hardest thing to look at this point. The hardest. I don't know how I managed, but comes the hardest part was we had to stay in the hospital for 3 weeks because one, he ended up wasn't eating
because they didn't the main cause they keep him for low blood sugar. So they wanted him to be stabilized before to send him home, because at the hospital they can check his blood sugar like every 3 hours. They can give him what he needs, what we can do when we home. So there were no day to exit. So the next 1 2 days pass. It's getting better. So what they think is that sometimes the baby at the beginning they just have a little hard start. So that's what they think, because they did some brain test, some P test, and blood test too, and they find nothing. So every test was negative, like it's perfectly fine, but they couldn't explain why his
the blood sugar
blood
was
sugar was
low.
low. So
And that was
things.
also That was also one of the hardest part because they couldn't figure out why it was low, because every test that they did was fine. So they couldn't figure out why the blood sugar was low. And then he ended up wasn't eating. He wasn't taking the bottle any at all. And at this time, he couldn't get my breast because of the low blood sugar. If they had put him on my breast, he would get too tired and it wouldn't be good for him. So they were giving him bottle and he wasn't taking the bottle. So at this time they had to put a tube in his nose and they had to feed him from his nose. And at one point they had to change it from his nose and put it in his mouth. But it wasn't easy for me. I don't know how I managed for that 3 weeks. And it so happened that I cried night and day. I had sleepless nights. Sometimes I would stay in his ICU room and I wouldn't want to leave. Damn, I'm gonna cry again. My mom had to leave France 2 days after he was born. And because of his low blood sugar, she didn't get to hold him. She didn't get to hold him, and that breaks my heart. Whoa.
But she was there. She was there, and
that breaks my heart because she didn't get to hold him.
so she didn't get to hold him, but she was there. She saw him. She was with her daughter. What was the most important? She bring her support. So that was nice. That was nice.
So she had to leave and she didn't get to hold him. But ooh, ooh. And then Babe had to go back to work before we leave the hospital. Here comes the hard part again. So I was at the hospital. Babe would come and see me on his lunchtime. He would come and see me after work. And he would check on me and tell at 24/7. Oh. But it was hard. It was hard. If I didn't believe in God any other time, I believed in him then. And my Bible is what kept me going. I am a mess. Oh Lord, I hope I don't wake Tyler. Anyway, my Bible is what kept me going, and my family. I would talk to my sister and my auntie and my mom every single day. And then, ooh, Tyler finally started taking my breast, and that was good. He started progressing. Each day he would get better and better, and he would drink more and more and more until ta-da! It was time to come home, and we were excited to come home. And we came home with a little bundle of joy. He also ended up with acid reflux. So he had a low blood sugar, he had acid reflux, and he had swallowed some liquid and he wasn't eating. Can I tell you, having a baby with acid reflux is one of the most heartbreaking thing that any parent can go through, right, babe? Because it's like when the pain is in the stomach, there is nothing you can do apart from maybe rub the stomach to give him a little comfort. But there is nothing you can do when he is crying from all that pain. You're so helpless. It is one of the hardest things we've been through after we came home for the first 3 months of taking him home. Tyler would cry for hours on end, non-stop crying in the middle of the night, in the day when baby's at work sometimes. He would just cry, 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 cry. And there's nothing you can do until he just stopped crying. So my experience having a child who've been through so much has taught me a lot, and it also brings my husband and I closer together. I don't think we can get any closer, but it has taught us a lot as parents, but we managed.
We manage.
Tyler is now 9 months old. Healthy little boy. He's full of life. He makes us laugh every single day. If you guys watch our previous vlogs and some small clips that I started on my channel with, you will see how much life this little boy have. He's a blessing, and we wouldn't have it any other way. And if we were to go through all of this all over again,
We do it.
we would do it in a heartbeat. Trust me. So, hope you guys enjoy our birth and delivery story.
And remember that doesn't matter how hard is the situation, there's always a way. There's always a way.
Always.
And at the end, things will just get better.
So, thanks for watching, guys. And good morning, good afternoon, and good night. And we'll see you in our next video.